Hello, 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 everybody. I'm gonna have to hold this today. Come on in, tag somebody. I'm not gonna be on long, but I had to come on. I'm in Chicago. Had to do an interview today at 1390 with Sonia Blakey. And on my way back, I knew that I had to do at 3 with me. And then I really forgot that Chicago is an hour behind. So I thought I had enough time to get back to the hotel, but I'm caught out here. So I'm gonna have to do it right here. I pray you all are having a great day. Waiting just a few more minutes for people to come in. So what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about support. I want to talk about being supportive. You know, a lot of times we don't understand why. Unika, you could drive. We don't understand why. Misha, turn that down some. We don't understand why things don't quite work out for us the way we expect them to. But, you know, the Bible said that if you desire friends, you must show yourself friendly. And while I was in Chicago, I was running by to see a friend of mine stop at her store, Personalities. And she have to be sick or something if she's not in this store today. Something is happening, and I tried to reach her, but I could not. But I just felt like I wanted to just be a support to her today, and just give her a nudge. It kind of reminded me of when I was a kid, and I would, you know, we would be outside playing double dutch, jump rope. Some of y'all, you know, we in the new millennial, so you don't know what double dutch is. But we was playing jump rope, and all I know is that there were times when my friends would kind of get stuck. You know, the rope is going and it's going. And we used to call that digging mashed potatoes. You know, they digging mashed potatoes because they trying to decide when they gonna get in, And it's so funny. And so you would have to just go behind them sometime and just nudge them on in, just shove them on in there. And that's what I feel like today. I just want to give somebody a shove on to destiny, because sometimes you just need to know that somebody feel what you feel, or they're there to support your vision. And a lot of times we always say, well, when is things going to happen for me? I'm a firm believer that what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. And when you're an individual that is just me, and I'm trying to figure out how I can get more of what I want, and I want to figure out how I can get, you know, people to be more supportive to me, you only get what you give out. And I don't know why people don't understand that reciprocity is one of the first laws of nature. It's like you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. And so sometimes we can change our outlook, and we can change the outcome of whatever it is we're doing if we're willing to make it happen for somebody else, or to help them reach their goal, reach their destiny. You know, I've always been a person, ever since I was a little girl, I've always been a giver. I remember one day, it was below zero weather, and they were sending all the kids home from school, and they were saying, you know, on the radio, nobody come outside because the weather is is out of control. I mean, people were literally dropping dead on the streets. It was that cold in Chicago. And one of my best friends, she lived 3 blocks further than I did. We were 2 blocks up from the school. And she was so cold, I took my gloves off and took my hat off and gave my hat and my gloves to her because she had to walk further than I did. By the time I got home in those little few blocks, my fingertips were frostbitten. It's like I was crying and my mother was like, "Where's your gloves? Where's your hat?" And I said, I gave it to Diane because she had to walk further than I did. And I was just always so concerned about her. And it broke my heart because she was tragically killed by a car accident. A car hit her on her way home from school. Several months after that, it was that same summer. And that was the first thing that I ever knew about it possibly being too late to show kindness to somebody. You know, I was a kid. I was in, I think, the 2nd grade. So I knew nothing about, I wasn't introduced to death by then. You know, our family was alive and everybody was living. My grandmother was alive. I didn't know my grandfather. He died before I was born. So that was during an age where I wasn't acquainted with death. I didn't know. I didn't know death. This is the Dr. Unica here. Tell him I'm doing a live. I didn't know death. I didn't know what death was in that sense. You know what I'm saying? I was too young. But what I did feel at that age, in the 2nd grade, my whole class had to go to her funeral. And, you know, they made our parents sign these papers saying that they felt like psychologically we needed to go because she was our class. So here I am sitting in this funeral home, and the whole front section of the first 3 rows was my whole classroom. And our teacher was sitting in the front on the end. Our parents were sitting behind us. And I was trying to understand it. But in my heart, I felt like I was a real friend to her. I felt like, you know, that day when she was really cold, I was there for her. And I made that sacrifice to let her know how much I cared about her. And I think we're living in such a cold world. And that's what's on my heart today. We are living in such a cold world. It's just like everybody acting frostbitten or something, you know, like, and I'm going to tell you what it is. These cell phones, social media is killing the ability of people to relate to each other. It's like if you go to the mall or something like that, or just the airport. I was observing this in the airport. And the majority of the people are walking with their cell phones in their hands. They're not looking up. They're not speaking to anybody. They're walking actually with people. And there's just no communication. Let me tell you something. Do you not know that it has been scientifically proven that too much social media causes you to feel depressed, full of anxiety, overwhelmed? Too much technology removes it removes your whole brain almost away from the ability for it to pour out and reach for something or to reach for somebody, because we get joy also from human beings. Communication is what brings mental satisfaction. Did you know that? Did you know that? Communication brings mental satisfaction. To be able to talk to a person, to be able to have a conversation with a person, to be able to touch somebody or hug somebody or help somebody. That's the joy of living. You can't live like that with a computer. A computer can't give you that. A laptop can't give you that. Just texting all the time. You know, it's like, no, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. I had someone at one point that worked for me, and they was like, you know, I emailed them, I texted them, I emailed. No, pick up the phone and communicate with people and let people feel your heart, because texts have no feelings. And whatever posture the person is in when you send the text, the majority of the times, that's the posture they're going to receive your text, even though you didn't mean it like that. You can send the text that says, what you doing? I've been trying to reach you. And it can be like, what you doing? I've been trying to reach you. And the person is in a bad place that day. They read the text. What you mean you've been looking for me and you trying to reach me? I'm where I always been. That wasn't the spirit you sent that text in. And it's because we have lost the ability to communicate with each other. We've lost the ability and the art of conversation. Just the art of conversation. The art of how you doing. Do you not know that the majority of the time now when you ask somebody how you doing, they kind of look at you like, am I right, Kathy?
You're right.
Like my sister's in the car with me. Am I right?
You're right. You're right.
I mean, you say, how you doing? And they go, well, I guess I'm all right. They don't even know how to answer you. They don't even know how to give you a heartfelt answer, because everything is through Texas. You ask somebody, well, how can I help you? Because too much technology teaches you how to pull down shutters as it relates to your humanity, to the point that you don't know how to express your feelings. You don't even know how to comfortably tell somebody I love you, or I'm thinking about you, or what can I do for you today? How can I help you today? And because we have lost the ability to use the art of communication, that's not something you're receiving. And so you got people walking around in a world with millions of people, and the first thing they'll tell you is that I'm lonely. The first thing they'll tell you is that I just feel like I don't have no friends. Because your phone is your friend, and your phone can't give you back all of the energy that you put in the phone. You can't get that back. And people, we have to take back the art of communication and the art of feeling somebody and the art of saying, can I help you? Can I encourage you? Can I push you further? What can I do to help you? That's humanity. And I'm just, I've just said no more. I want to talk to people. I get annoyed sometimes when I text somebody, or I say, oh, let me text this person and ask them how they're doing, or they, I reach out or whatever, and they send me back a heart on my conversation or a thumbs up. I just text you in words, and you just sent me back an emoji. No, I'm picking up the phone now, because it's kind of getting out of hand now. It's like where is my relationship? And you have to ask yourself that. Where's your relationships? Who do you have a relationship with? I mean, a conversational relationship where this person is my friend, or this person is my sister in the Lord, and we talk all the time, not text all the time. And I'm breaking that habit. I want relationship. I want to feel like I'm a friend. I want my friends to feel like they have a friend. Because sometimes texting can make you feel like, I ain't got time, so just let me go and text her and get her out the way and shut her up. No, that's not life. That's not life. That's not life. And you will never, ever, ever be fulfilled if we don't change that. And so it's gotten so bad till we do it with, you do it with your kids. Oh, let me text him and ask him what does he want to eat? Or let me text him no, how are you? Do you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I do. I remember when we had to come to the dinner table. Do you remember that, Kathy?
Yes, we did.
It wasn't no eating in your bedroom.
No. Or on the way.
I remember when we had to come to the dinner table. My dad was missing sometime because of his job and he would have to work late, but my mother was not. We would sit at that kitchen table and my mother would ask, how was your day? Or the Lord beat and showed her that I was smoking. How he showed her that I had took a shower and everything at my friend's house and my girlfriend was teaching me how to smoke. And so I started out with Viceroys and they was too strong. Then she went to Cools and they was too strong. We went to Cool Lights, they was too strong. We went to Salem and they was too strong. We went to Salem Lights. I didn't have no business smoking. That's one thing. And you going to Salem Lights, you ain't hardly smoking no cigarette. But I just wanted to learn how to smoke. So I comes in the house and, my girlfriend and I, we got that thing all figured out. Because we stand outside and, and put our finger in our mouth because we was both Girl Scouts. And we put our finger in our mouth and hold it up to the wind. And whichever side the wind, the finger get cold on, that's the direction the wind blowing in. So you don't smoke facing the wind. You smoke with the wind blowing the smoke away from you. So that's what I did. And then I brought a whole set of change of clothes. So I didn't smell like no smoke. So I come to the dinner table. My mother's sitting there. We all eating dinner. My brothers and sisters, we all eating dinner. And my mother just looks up and says, smoke another cigarette and you're going to choke. And I hope you live through it. And I looked at her. She said, don't look at me like that. The Holy Ghost told me you smoking. That was at the dinner table. Communication. Communication. A lot of stuff you can catch if you have a relationship of communication. No, bring your kids to the table. Look them in the eye. Look them over. If you can see something strange about them, what's up with you? Because something wrong. You ain't acting right. Communication. And then we just want to buy everything for everybody because we don't want to relate. We don't want to relate. Sometimes people say, well, I just buy people stuff because that's just how I love people. Yeah, but you need to communicate. You need to communicate. And that thing is really on me. People, because we're losing humanity. It's like, there's no sense in us getting all upset because people like Elon Musk and all these people is building robots and we saying that stuff is real and they turning everything, into computers and we ain't hardly got no jobs no more. And everything in the airport is put your card in and push a button and da-da-da. Because the human race is showing the powers that be, we don't need to talk to each other. We don't need to communicate. Let's just everybody be a machine. And that's exactly what the human race is turning into. Lines of communication like a robot. Like somebody said, oh, I asked Siri. I don't ask Siri nothing. Get that off my phone. I ain't talking to Siri. And she pop up sometime. How may I help you? You can't. Goodbye. I'm not talking to Siri. Ain't no Siri gonna help me do nothing. The most I'm going to do is use a GPS. But I'm not going to be talking to a computer like we have a relationship. I want a relationship with a person. I want a relationship with a person. Is anybody on here feeling what I'm feeling? Somebody give me I just want to see what some responses is. Who got that? Oh, my goodness. Yes. Yes. Yes, we got to stop deceiving ourselves. No, when was the last time you had a conversation with somebody? When was the last time you went out to dinner with a friend and y'all just conversated about life? Just had a conversation about the times, a conversation about art. Like, when was the last time you just took a friend and say, let's go to the museum. Let's go to the art museum. Let's go to the African Art Museum. Or let's go to the Ark. Or let's get tickets to a play. Let's spend a weekend in New York and go see a Broadway play. Just so we can have some conversation. So we can stop talking about the burdens of life. And we can stop talking about what it's not. Let me tell you something. Life is a good life. You just got to know how to live it. You got to know how to live it. And it don't take a whole lot of money to enjoy your life. It doesn't. When was the last time you said, I know it's wintertime now, but wouldn't it have been just a great experience to just get a couple girlfriends and say, let's do a picnic in the park. Let's bring a basket and have some cheese and some grapes and some strawberries and make some finger sandwiches, and let's just sit on the grass in the park and just have a great conversation. Let's talk about the play we just got through looking at. Let's look at a movie that's really interesting. And let's talk about what we felt about that, because we don't communicate anymore. We don't. And so for that reason, we don't know how. And then we say things the wrong way. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. Do you know why there is so much cross communication where people are constantly being offended by each other? Because we have lost the art of conversation till we don't even know how to approach issues anymore. And then we come in all wrong and strong and left. And then you got to get the left out the relationship, and you got to get the left out the conversation, and you got to calm the person down and say, I didn't mean it that way, only for you to get back to why you really came to have a conversation with them. It's because we out of practice. Who is a witness to this? Somebody said, we're out of practice. We're out of practice talking to each other. We're out of practice telling each other that with my friends, when I get my feelings hurt, I say it. I don't like the way you just said that. That just hurt my feelings. I don't save it and save it and save it and save it. And then all of a sudden you just blowing up, throwing stuff and being all mad. And I allow them to do the same with me. I don't like the way you just said that. That just hurt my feelings. That's sensitive. And listen, I don't have a right to say, oh girl, that wasn't nothing. You don't get to tell other people what they feel. It's nothing to you. But if it hurt them, then you owe them an apology. We're talking about the art of conversation. We're talking about why some of y'all don't have no friends. We're talking about how some of you all need to go back and repair relationships. I've had relationships torn before. But I'm going to tell you about my friends. My one friend would not allow me to leave it alone and said, no, you all got to fix that. And I was like, no, you got to call her. You got to fix that. That's too many years of a relationship. And sometimes you got to have the hard conversations. Like when you do X, Y, and Z, that hurt me. When you don't come when I ask you to come. And then when you come, you act like I'm a drive-by. You got to say it. And then that person, they changed. Because they didn't think it made any difference. Because to them, you just so busy. I didn't think you noticed that, I come in and out. But I did. And I wanted them to be around me more. Because I missed the friendship. But guess what? I had to communicate that. And now our friendship is tighter than it's ever been. So you got people on this live today. You need to go fix some relationships. You really do. You really do. You can't toss years of friendships in the garbage because, she hurt me. And da-da-da-da-da. But did you try to go back and fix it? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a story. My dad, when I was like 11, my best friend, her name was Viola Mott. We were very close. And she, when you get to church and everybody's around and other girls that's around, well, she did some stuff to hurt my feelings. And I was done. I was like, no, you don't treat me like that. No, I'm done. And so when she did that, I was finished. So a couple of weeks went by and my dad would come home and she was always at my house. Always at my house. Her dad had 16 kids. So she spent the majority of the time at my house. And so we would just, I said, I'm not doing that with her. I'm not. Well, one day my dad told me, come go to the store with me. He came home early and he said, come go to the store with me. I said, okay. I got in the car. My dad headed down the street. He ended up on the expressway. And before I know it, he was turning on her block. And I was like, Dad, where you going? He said, I'm taking you to her house. No, don't take me to her house. She offended me. She did this, she did that. Da. He said, I'm taking you to her house. I said, but why? When she owed me an apology. You know what he said to me? And I'm done with this lie. You know what my dad said to me that blew my mind? This gonna bless you, and it's going to help you. He said, Nita, do you not know it takes strength to apologize? And everybody's not strong enough to do it. Wow. He said it takes strength to apologize. He said, but if you value the relationship, you're going to have to help your friend be strong. And you're going to have to heal the relationship. I sat there crying. And he said, God is going to strengthen you to be able to apologize when you need to. Because it takes a strong person to say, I'm sorry. It takes a strong person to say, I forgive you. Even if they haven't said sorry. I forgive you. Let's work on this. When I pulled up and I got out the car, she was outside. She opened up that fence and ran to me screaming and grabbed me around my neck. It was true. She knew she was wrong, but she thought that the relationship was destroyed because I had every right not to want to speak to her again, but I was strong enough to forgive her. And people, we offend so much, too often, because we have lost the art of conversation. We're not robots. There's a little segment that comes on the phone, and the segment says, when you're getting ready to order something or you're getting ready to do something, it'll say, do all of these pictures and pick everything that's got a bike in it to prove you're not a robot. Then it'll say, pick every picture that's got a bus in it to prove you're not a robot. And we will go through the process of doing all of that to prove we're not a robot. But when it comes down to human relationships, what are you willing to do to prove you're not a robot? And we're supposed to be Christians. And we're supposed to be people with the Holy Ghost. And we're supposed to be people that walk in the Spirit. The Spirit of God is not a spirit of division. Talk to your children. Ask them how they're doing. Because the only time we want to have a verbal something with somebody is when we're mad. The only time you want to tell your daughter, I'm going to slap you into next week. Now you're communicating. Now you want to tell your son, I will knock you upside your head with this bat. Now you're communicating. But did you just say today, son, how you doing? How was your day? What did you do special today? Did anything happen different today? You gotta make people have a conversation with you. Talk to people. Communicate. Build a relationship with somebody you have known for years, that you talk to them by text, and watch and see how it changed your life, because you need and I need the human touch. I need to hear another human in my ears telling me that they care about me, asking me how I'm doing, and waiting for me to respond. I need another human being to listen to me when I have something to say. That's all I have to say today. That's what's really on my mind. Let's restore the art of conversation. I love you. Well, I'm sorry I had to do it in the car, but here we are. But I love y'all. I love y'all so much. We're going to be all right. Communication is everything. Try it. You'll like it. It'll help you. It'll bring you some joy. Talk to you later. Bye. You go with God, and you will never, ever, ever be lost.